All right, welcome to another deep dive, everyone. Today we're going to be um, tackling a topic that I think a lot of folks out there are interested in. Learning English.
Yeah,
And, our source material is really simple this time.
yeah.
It's basically just this note that we have that says, talk about learning English.
hmm
So that's pretty open-ended, right?
It is.
And it gives us kind of free reign, I think, to explore a bunch of different facets of learning English as a language.
For sure.
So for all of you out there listening, have you ever tried to learn a new language?
Right.
Or maybe you've even tried to learn English and had some success or some failures.
Yeah.
What were the challenges and what were some of the rewards you discovered?
Well, I think one of the really interesting things about learning English is it's sort of like this universal experience.
Yeah,
But everybody's path is so unique.
right.
And it's actually the most studied language globally.
Wow.
And people jump in for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from professional growth travel adventures, connecting with loved ones, or just like expanding your horizons linguistically.
Totally. And speaking of all those different goals and reasons for diving into English,
Yeah,
the different approaches people take is equally diverse, right?
it is.
You think about the old days with like those clunky phrase books or
Totally.
those language tapes we used to have.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have these sophisticated apps,
Uh-huh.
online tutors, VR programs. It's really kind of mind-boggling.
It is amazing how technology has just transformed language learning. It used to be you'd have to lug around this big, heavy phrase book,
Yeah,
but now you can have an AI-powered tutor literally right in your pocket.
yeah. It really is incredible.
But it's also maybe a little bit of a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, hell so.
Well, on the one hand, you have this incredible access to all of these tools,
Right.
but on the other hand, it can feel a little overwhelming, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's a lot to navigate for sure.
So how do you choose? How do you find the path that's right for you?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, there's really no magic formula.
Okay.
There's not really a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to language learning. I've seen people just thrive in these traditional classroom settings,
Sure.
while others do much better with language exchange apps, or they love self-study methods.
Yeah, it really does seem to vary so much from person to person.
It does.
But in your experience, are there any methods that you've just seen work better, more consistently than others?
It's a good question. I think it's less about one method being universally superior
Right.
and more about finding that sweet spot where your own personal learning style
Okay.
and your preferences align with the right approach.
hmm
So you mentioned earlier you're a visual learner. Some people really gravitate towards visual aids or they like interactive games.
Yeah.
Maybe they watch a lot of film and television.
hmm
Other people are auditory learners.
Okay.
So they might find podcasts or music or just tons of conversation practice really helpful.
Gotcha.
And then you've got your kinesthetic learners, the folks who really need those hands-on activities and that real-world application to really solidify their learning.
Right. It's funny you mentioned that real world application because I was thinking about this time that I was trying to order some food in Spanish and I accidentally asked for a horse instead of a fish.
Oh, no.
It was so embarrassing.
But it makes for a good story.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a learning experience, but I was mortified.
That's hilarious, though. But, you bring up a good point about making mistakes and learning from them.
Right?
I think embracing those fumbles, the awkward pauses, all of it is actually crucial to becoming more fluent.
Yeah,
It's all part of the process.
it is. And even though it's all part of the process,
Yeah.
staying motivated can be pretty challenging sometimes, especially when you hit those inevitable plateaus.
I agree.
So what advice would you give for somebody who's maybe struggling with staying engaged and motivated?
Well, I would say, first of all, don't put so much pressure on yourself to reach fluency immediately.
Okay.
It's a journey.
Yeah,
So instead, try breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
that makes sense.
So maybe instead of saying, I want to be fluent in English, you say, I want to master 10 new words this week.
Okay.
Or I want to confidently order a coffee in English, or I want to be able to understand my favorite TV show without subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Those small wins can give you a sense of accomplishment and keep you going.
Yeah, I love those examples. It's so easy to get caught up in this huge goal of fluency
Right.
that we forget to appreciate all those smaller milestones along the way.
Exactly. And remember, learning a language isn't just about memorizing grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It's about connecting with a new culture, different people, and broadening your perspective.
So we're just about out of time, but before we go, what is one key takeaway you would like to leave our listeners with today?
I would say just take a moment and think about one small step you can take today to either enhance your English skills or explore a new learning approach. Maybe it's downloading a language learning app that you've been curious about, or watching an English movie without subtitles,
Right.
or striking up a conversation with someone in English.
Yeah.
Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Great advice. And that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.